Okay, so far I have over here, Mark is the last one who joined us. Mark, do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you
Can
can,
you hear me?
I hear you perfectly well. You guys can feel free to unmute yourself or mute, turn on the cameras or turn them off. For me, it's nicer if I see faces so I know who I'm talking to, but feel free to do as you wish. I don't know how long ago you guys have heard of OMB. OMB is a shortcut for one man band, and we basically decided to. Oh, you have one. Nice. We basically decided uh, a few years ago to bring an innovation to the guitar world that has been existing only for keyboards and somewhat to accordions. Our main goal is to allow a guitarist to accompany himself with a full-size band, and that was our goal when we first started. I'll tell you a bit about my background. My name, as I said, is Ben, and a few years ago, I play mainly keyboards. I play guitar also, but my main instrument is keyboards and pianos. And I performed in a like a show that we put together in front of a group of 400 people, and we ran day after day. And one day, my keyboard just stopped working. There was electricity stopped working, and on the side of the stage, I saw a guitar. So I just kept the show running with the guitar, but I was missing everything behind me, all the backgrounds, the synthesizers, the strings, the accompaniments. At the same time, two interesting things happened. I felt closer to the audience because, when I'm behind keys, I cannot really move. And when I'm with a guitar, I could go back and forth. It's like they see me, I see them. So I felt this is the true um, product or instrument that should have had all those abilities. And why on earth don't they exist? Together with some friends and some engineers, we started to do some investigations, and we've seen that there's been something that's called MIDI guitars. Some of you may have heard of it. It started way back in the 80s, and they've always had some kind of issues. Each one had a different issue. One had a latency and delay issue, and some of them had some other issues. But all of them were meant for one purpose only, and that was to allow guitarists to work in studios, play guitar, and hear a violin or a trumpet. They weren't meant for them to be like the arranger keyboards where you could hit a chord and get an entire accompaniment. I'm going to pause here for a second because someone has his microphone unmuted and it's making a lot of noise. So if it's you, just mute yourself. Um, and okay, thank you. This is better. If at any point you have questions, feel free to send me a text message or just turn on your microphone and let me know. So here we are a few years later. We hired, we opened a company. We hired a bunch of engineers. We've been working really hard. We interviewed over 300 guitarists to see what the needs are going to be, and they all say the same thing: do not touch the sound. Don't hurt the sound. Make the guitar stay exactly like it is. If you want to add an additional channel or an additional avenue, that's fine. But we want to stay guitarists. We like our instrument, as opposed to keyboardists, where all the sounds are mechanic. A guitar has an advantage that it's alive, it's an authentic sound. Do not touch that. So that's what we decided to do. The other thing was do not play with the weight of the guitar, so it's not heavy, and um, do not do not play with anything that has to do with the fluenticity or whatever the word is that you could actually run across the neck. Uh, we had a lot of challenges. We still have some because we keep developing all the time. But for those of you who haven't seen the OMB, I'm just gonna start with a short demo. As I said before, um, let me know at any point if you have some questions. So as you see, this is a regular guitar. our guitars used to come in two versions. One was a built-in where everything is in the back and you don't see it, and the other one was a kit. Right now, we don't have any more in stock of the built-in. We have those, which are also our brand guitars, but also branded guitars by Cord, Fender, PRS, and other companies. And this is how it looks. Okay, we have a small kit. Many people ask about this plastic thing, mainly in acoustic guitars, where you want to palm mute and it bothers the hand from being on the bridge. So this piece can actually be removed, and then you could place your finger, your hand exactly where you want, and it won't bother you. It's just a cosmetic cover. So as I said, this is a regular guitar. You guys hear this? It gives a thumbs up if you hear the sound. Okay, so what do? I'm connected right now to the OMB app. I'm going to start with that. I don't know how well you can actually see the screen, but I'll try to describe, and if you have any other questions, let me know. When I'm playing a chord, even before I'm strumming, you will see the chord played on the screen, okay? Right now I'm playing a D minor, and it's going to immediately register D minor. I'm going to play a C major, or a G, or an A flat major. Any chord I'm going to play, the machine identifies it. Do you see the chords over there, or is it too far away? So trust me on that. What I'm going to do right now, okay, Roger sees and Albert says somewhat, so just trust me that that's what's happening. And
Yeah.
okay, perfect. And soon you're going to hear it. Right now I'm turning what's called the solo sound over here, and any note I'm going to press on the fingerboard, okay, is going to immediately project the sound that I chose. I think it was, let me see, it was vocals. I just randomly chose a vocal sound. Here it is. Let me raise the volume a bit. And if I play a chord, okay, so now I can have this and play my right hand regularly. And it doesn't really matter what sound I'm going to choose. I could choose any sound. Right now I'm going to switch to strings, and it's immediate. Okay, it could be pianos or organs. It could also be sophisticated synths. I just have to lower the level of the here a little bit more. Okay. Okay, and this side stays the same. So okay, now what can I actually do with this? So I'm gonna go back to vocals. I'm gonna press a button that's called sustain right here in the bottom. And right now, hi Pearl, nice to see you. And right now, when I'm gonna press any string over here, I'm not gonna get a response, because sustain, what the sustain does is it automatically registers only full chords. So we have a map of 2,500 chords that the guitar registers, and we keep on adding all the time more and more chords. And any chord I'm going to play is going to register and is going to give me these vocals, but as a chord. Now it's going to be sustained, so I could leave my hands and let it go, play lead, go to the next chord. When I play the next chord, that's when the entire vocals are going to follow me. Here's how it goes, okay? I'm not touching my right hand. I'm going to start with C major, E minor, A minor. Okay, now I want to add my right hand to D major. Okay, so I'm not going to teach you now everything the app could do, because it could do many more things. It could loop two sounds together. I could hook up to GarageBand and Sample Tank if you're familiar with those apps and generate the sounds from there instead of this if I don't like these sounds in particular. For example, I'm gonna go right now to Sample Tank, which is an app that if you are looking into getting into these kind of solo instruments sounds, you should know about. It has amazing, amazing sounds. For example, this is the sax. Wait, let me get rid of the OMB app in the background. Here it is. You guys hear that, or is it too low? Were you able to hear the saxophone?
Yeah, that's good.
Now, one of the nice things about this that I really love as opposed to keyboards is in keyboards, when you want to slide from note to note, the only way to do it is with the bending like circle, but it doesn't really give you the in-between notes. It just goes, you know, like a rah. Over here, you actually hear the strings in between because it's a string instrument, right? You hear the half notes, the semi notes. Okay, let's choose one of the nicer violins. Okay, I could choose a full chord. Okay, so far I've showed you mainly the solo. And let me know if you have any questions about the solo before we go to the next thing, which we have one more person joining us, Neil and Sally. So welcome. Before we go to the next part, which is the chord instrument, let me know if you have any questions about this first part. If not, before you have questions, I'll add two things. The first mode, the solo mode, which I explained, we didn't even want to go after. It's just something that happened as we developed. So we just, we said, why not allow that? So this mode, it does not register open notes, as you saw. Okay, it only registers notes that are being pressed on. So that's one limitation. The other limitation is that it doesn't recognize bending or any kind of expression. If you want to use expression, you could connect a pedal to the app and control it from that, but it's just a raw sound. So depending on the quality of the app you're using, or if you're connecting it, if you have a DAW at home, or you're connecting it to a VST, to any kind of software, or a keyboard. So depending on that device, that's the sound you're going to get. So any questions until this part? Okay, so now I'm getting to the part that excites me.
I have a question.
Yes, Mark.
Now you had mentioned that the built-ins, you don't do those anymore. Now, was there a flaw with those that has been corrected?
So we just, it wasn't a flaw in the technology. There was, I'd say, a small flaw in the mechanics of how it was implemented. And until we're 100% sure that we're on top of that, we're not going to market them again. It may happen in 3 months, 5 months, 6 months. I'm not sure yet, because the world has gone crazy. We can't really go to our factories for over a year. So everything has slowed down there. On the other hand, the add-ons have shown and have proven to be very, very reliable. We hardly have any rejects there. As every product, we have some, but we deal with them. We have a very good customer support, but they work perfectly well, and people who've been using them are very happy with them. So we just went with that. We made some adoptions.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so I'm using an app that's called Xmir, which is we have a partnership with them. In the Xmir, I'm not going to explain everything about the app, but once again, you can see that when I press a chord, those of you who can actually see this, the name of the chord is registered right over here, and that way the accompaniment knows what to generate. Over here, I have a library with hundreds of different genres and styles. You could categorize them by type, tempo, signature, time, 4/4s or 6/8s. For now, I'm going to choose just for this demo. I could choose a few, but I'll start with something that I really like. It's called Funk Out. And once I'm going to start, the guitar is now armed. And once I'm going to press a chord, I don't even need to strum. The accompaniment is going to start. Right now, each accompaniment has 4 variations. I'm on variation B, which means we're going to hear a drum, a bass, and one more instrument that is going to accompany me. I'm going to start with a regular A minor, and I'm going to leave my hand. I'm going to run it for like a beat or two, and then you'll see that I'm switching the chord, and the entire band just follows me. Okay? In a way, I could say it even predicts what I'm going to play because I'm not strumming yet. I'm only changing the chord, so it's that quick. Ready? Now we have drums, bass, and a small organ. Okay, I'm going to switch to D minor. Back to A minor. G major. Okay, now I'm going to add my right hand. Okay, I could go forever, but I guess you got the point. Was this clear? Did you hear the accompaniment? I don't know how well you hear the bass line and everything, but it's really exciting. It's good. It's I mean, you know, when you hear it out of an iPad, the speakers of an iPad are not that perfect, but when it's hooked up to a system, and I'll get to that later on how do you hook up the sound to a sound system. It's really fun and exciting. What can I do with this in this app? So first of all, I have full control of each one of the channels. I have control of the drum channel. I could raise it or lower it or mute it or have it on solo, on the bass, and on each one of the other instruments. Right now, I'm going to show you the difference between variation A, B, C, and D. A being the one that is the calmest, right? We're just going to have a drum and a bass. D being the most extreme, having 5 or 6 different instruments at the same time accompanying me. Okay, I'm gonna just leave it on A minor. This is A. I'm gonna switch to C just so you can hear the difference. And D. Okay, I'm putting here something aside. When you get more advanced with this, you can basically combine 2 or 3 apps working simultaneously at the same time with the OMB. So you could drive a strings or a pad or an organ sound from Sample Tank and another sound from GarageBand, and add that as another 2 or 3 channels to the Xmir. So you get 5 channels plus another pad of another instrument as you choose. What else you can do with this? You could record all the digital, not the guitar, but the digital accompaniment. The recording saves not only the sound, but also the bars and the chord progression, and you could export that to your band members, to your bandmates, to your students, to your friends. Just print it out for yourself to have it. Obviously, you could replay it, you could loop it, and it gets more and more advanced as you want to dive into the app. You could export all the channels in separate channels. So for example, you want to write a song, and okay, now I used the funk, but let's say I want to play a Latin kind of something, and you know, I'm not that good at Latin. So I want to write a Latin song, but I'm not that good at it. So I'm going to use this as a guideline. It's going to give me some kind of inspiration, some kind of fun. Okay, that's before I even talk about performing, just in my studio at home. And then I'm going to play it in a second. And then I could actually export it. Let's read the messages. I'm gonna address that question in a minute. And then I'm going to, I can export all those channels to my computer and work on each one with the levels, mastering, EQ, etc. So this is how the Latin is going to sound, or one of the Latins. Okay, I'm just going to read one of the questions that I got here. App. These other apps like Xmor become seamless. What does that mean, seamless? I'm not sure what the question meant. Whoever asked that. Oh, I didn't read the beginning.
Does each app need to be opened in a Bluetooth format or USB in order to be addressed by the OMB through the guitar? Does, like, if you tap into Xmure, will that just connect? Or do you need to do something to bring it into?
That's a very good question. Basically, I just want to put it out there. There are two ways to connect to the app. One is Bluetooth, which is very convenient because, you know, I'm almost wireless here. The other is directly using what I have here, a camera kit by Apple. Okay, that goes directly into the iPhone or iPad right here. And from there, the USB cable that comes with the guitar directly into the guitar. So if you're working in an environment with many Bluetooth devices around you, or you're in the middle of a live show and you're afraid to lose connection, you're walking 15 feet away and you're afraid it's too far, you could use a cable. Regarding back to your question, most apps that have MIDI and, you know, were designed in the last 3 years, I'd say, have an immediate Bluetooth built in, and they're already open. Some of them have require the need to open the Bluetooth. For example, in Xmure or in any other app, if you open the settings right here, over here, it's right here. If you open the settings, I'm going to read it out for you because there are a lot of stuff here. There is Bluetooth MIDI. Yeah, you might want to press it to open, and then you could choose the channel, MIDI channel 1, MIDI channel 2. Most of them are immediate and seamless. Sample time because we have a relationship with them. Everything is pretty straightforward. But I think it's the same with. I've never seen any issue with GarageBand or Sample Tank or any of those as well. So it is pretty seamless. If at any point you have an issue, we have a very, very good and on top of things customer support and technical support, and we would be happy to help you solve a specific issue with connections. Another question that many people ask is, does it work with a capo? So yes, of course. I'll put the capo here for now, and you will see it will start to see my. Let's put the capo here, and I'll move my fingers. Okay. Okay. One last thing before I complete the major things I wanted to talk about is the pedal. We've been getting many questions about how to operate the app and how to work with it, and I understand that for people who are not well trained as people like me are with keyboards and working with such an app for the first time, this may be challenging. One of the things we developed is a pedal to control any feature of the app. So if you work, especially if you work live shows. But even if you work at home and you just don't want to press your fingers so many times to get a drum fill or to raise the tempo or to record, you could just use this pedal. I'm going to turn it on. I'll show you how it works. Okay, right over here I have a small square that allows me to choose what I'm going to control out of the app. Right now, this is going to be start the music. This is going to be variation B, variation D, variation C, and this one I set to mute the drums. For example, I just want to hear the bass and other stuff, but not the drums, so I'm going to mute it. But I can do that to any one of the parameters. I could control the tempo, as I said. I could chain up to 4 pedals. As keyboardists, we're used to using our hands a lot and having them all over. So I would usually use at least 2, maybe 3, one for solo sounds, one for recording, and one for all the accompaniment. So here's how it works. Okay. As you see, I press this, it turned to D. I'm going to press this, it turns to B. I'm going to press this, the accompaniment is going to start. I'm going to press it again, it's going to stop. So right now I'm at B. I want to move it to, I want to mute the drums. I want to put back the drums. And move it to D or C. Okay? This way I could work with the pedal on the floor with my feet. I don't have to worry about the app almost at all. Just turn it on. And basically, I think that is the basic of it all. Of course, each one has specific questions that concern the way they play or what they want to do with it, and that's why we have customer support for. But this is the basic idea of how it works, what it does, and you know, right now I'm open to hearing some questions from you guys. Yes, Albert.
What is the purpose of adding a Keytron unit to this instrument? I've seen it, I've heard it, and it sounds good, but I'm just wondering what the benefits are going to be should something like that happen.
Okay, so with all the respect to us and to everything we've achieved with the iPad and the accompaniment, at the moment, no iPad can compete with the quality of sound of machinery that has a 30 terabyte unit of memory for sounds. The sounds, the main thing about sounds is how much they you know take in terms of memory. The Ketron is just outstanding piece of equipment. I don't know if everyone's familiar with that. It's I actually have one right behind me. Yeah, it's in a box, so I'm not going to bring it. But also, there's not only the Ketron. We're talking about, this is by Roland. It's module arrangers that just have everything that this app has to offer, but designed by Roland, 80-year company that has tons of experience and thousands of different styles and genres in of arrangements. The same by Ketron. It's a 30, maybe 40-year company, very, very well known by the arranger community of the keyboardists. So that is basically it. If you are a high-level performer or just want to really, really enjoy yourself at home, the Ketron is a good way to go. I can tell you that when I go out and play at gigs, if it's a small gig and it's just a reception, I would probably take the X-Mirror with me, the app, because you know it's. But if I'm doing something, anything that has to do with dancing, or a bigger, you know, a bigger than 200 event, I'll probably go with the Ketron. A, because I have it, and B, because it's one level above, with all the respect to what we do. So saying that, what I'm trying to say is that the guitar and the technology is basically an open source. You can connect it to any MIDI device. So if you see behind me, I have a keyboard by Yamaha. It's called Tyros. It's one of the favorites of Yamaha. It is also an arranger, and I could hook up my guitar to the Tyros and control. If I'm a better guitarist, and I have the keyboard behind me, so I can control the keyboard from my guitar. Any more questions, guys?
One more.
What is the model of that Roland unit you just had?
It's called BK7. The only thing I want to tell you about that you should know, it's much, much cheaper than the Ketron. It's not as good, and it's very old. So it doesn't have a direct MIDI output. You'll have to run it through a computer. Not a big deal, but you have to run it through a computer and have an intermediate software, a free one. If you're interested, I'll be happy to send all the information by email, how to connect, videos, how to connect, and what needs to be done. Anyone else? I see that someone else had a question there.
Yeah, I have a question. It's Mark.
Yes, Mark.
The guitar that you've been playing for, the guitar that you've been playing for us, that's one of the built-ins, correct?
Yes.
And how old is that one?
It's a demo guitar that I have here probably for the past 2 years, year and a half.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
But that's an important question because the technology works exactly the same on all guitars. It's just a matter of what guitar you use. You could put it on a very expensive Martin or on a cheap no name guitar. The technology works the same. This, for example, I don't know if you were here when I showed this, but this is, for example, a built-in guitar that we just took out a few parts for demo, and we added just for this demo. This is how the kit looks on it. So it's basically this exact same guitar. It works exactly the same. It's just that the unit sits here instead of in the hole that was meant for it.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions, guys? So first of all, thank you for being here. This is the first test we've been doing for a group. We've been having personal Zooms, and it's proven to be very helpful for people who are struggling or want to understand more. So this is the first time. Thank you for being among us. And if you
could I ask you?
Sure.
Sorry, and I realized you were trying to wind up. Could I just ask a quick question?
Sure, yeah.
It's really about the installation. So I'm really curious about the kit format to save money. And I've watched some of the tutorial. I guess it's really about the bit where we're soldering the side tape to the frets.
Right.
Now, of course, when we play, we all like really smooth frets and fret ends, and the last thing we want is when they all get roughed up. So I'm kind of curious, how do you get a neat soldered joint to the fret and to the side tape without it becoming uncomfortable to play?
Okay, so first of all, that's why we offer guitars with it, because our tech here knows exactly how to do it, but I will give a very short explanation. I'm no expert at soldering, although I know how to solder.
No, nor me, and that's why I'm asking.
I wouldn't do it myself. I would take it to a luthier who is well taught how to solder. And when you do it properly, it doesn't harm the guitar at all, and it leaves really, really nice and smooth. In fact, we've run some tests. We gave the guitar to guitarists to test and asked them if they feel anything different without showing them what's going on, and nothing. So you put a drop, really a tiny bit of a drop of solder on the fret, and then you put the tape on it, and then you put the soldering machine on the tape so it touches it, and then it just sinks into it, and that's it. Obviously, before you start playing, you run your fingers really gently, and if you see that there's any sharp edge, there's special tools that soldering people know how to use, and just scrape them a bit or flatten them so they're smooth and nice. The tape itself is very, very thin. It's I think I'll talk in millimeters for those who understand millimeters. 0.01 millimeters, so it's really thin. It's really seamless, and but if you're considering the kit, I would take it to someone. We work with around 100 luthiers around the world, so we might have someone we can recommend in your area. It's worth giving us an email and asking if we have anyone in your area. If not, many people are looking for extra work right now, luthiers, after this rough year, and I'm sure some of them will be happy for some extra work.
Okay, thanks. I've done a little
I
bit of
have a
soldering.
question. This is Tony.
Tony, just 1 second. We have
Oh, sure.
almost a minute before this meeting ends. If it ends during your questions, I would kindly ask you to all just re-enter the same link again, okay? And we'll keep this meeting running.
Yeah,
Okay?
I'm just asking about the app. I've had the original app since I received the guitar probably about 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Have you had any updates on it?
Not really. We cooperated with Xmure, and since they're very good apps for solo instruments such as Sample Tank and GarageBand, we didn't do anything with our solo sounds, and Xmure kind of answers everything we need for the accompaniment.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.